December 3rd, 2024, Sinaloa, Mexico. Before sunrise, Mexican law enforcement teams launched coordinated raids across multiple properties scattered throughout Sinaloa state. These were not random targets. For nearly 3 years, U.S. federal investigators had been quietly mapping these locations, tracking movements, monitoring supply chains, and building a case against the people believed to be running one of the most dangerous criminal enterprises on Earth. The targets were controlled by a father and son. What authorities discovered inside shocked even veteran investigators. More than 1,500 kilograms of fentanyl, over 1.65 tons, the largest single fentanyl seizure ever recorded anywhere in the world. Not just in Mexico, not just in North America, the largest in history. According to U.S. prosecutors, the operation was run by Pedro Inzunza Noriega, known within the cartel world as Sagittario, and his son Pedro Inzunza Coronel, known as Pichon. Together, investigators say they led one of the most powerful factions of the Sinaloa cartel, the Beltrán Leyva Organization, or BLO, and federal authorities believe this organization operated the largest fentanyl production network on the planet. For years, this father and son team allegedly oversaw the production and trafficking of tens of thousands of kilograms of fentanyl into the United States, helping fuel an overdose crisis that has devastated communities across the country. Then came a historic legal move. On May 13th, U.S. Homeland Security investigations and the FBI unsealed an indictment unlike anything seen before. For the first time in American history, cartel leaders were charged with narco-terrorism and providing material support to terrorism. Not drug trafficking charges with added penalties, actual terrorism charges. The same legal framework previously used against organizations such as ISIS, al-Qaeda, and Hezbollah. At the center of that indictment were 7 leaders of the Beltrán Leyva Organization, including the father and son believed to be running the world's largest fentanyl production operation. But this story is bigger than a single indictment. Federal agents spent 3 years gathering intelligence, tracing financial networks, documenting shipments, identifying production facilities, and building evidence across multiple countries. When prosecutors finally unveiled the case, the message was clear. You are no longer the hunters, you are the hunted. The scale of the operation explains why authorities are treating it differently. The December 2024 seizure was not the cartel's entire inventory. It represented only one raid on one day at a handful of locations. Investigators believe the broader network moved enormous quantities of fentanyl over several years. According to court documents, the Beltrán Leyva Organization became notorious for producing brightly colored fentanyl pills designed to resemble candy. Many were stamped with luxury brand logos, including Louis Vuitton and Rolls-Royce. Authorities say these pills were intentionally designed to appear harmless while concealing one of the deadliest synthetic drugs ever created. Those counterfeit pills eventually made their way into communities throughout the United States. From major cities to suburban neighborhoods, investigators say the cartel's supply chain stretched deep into American communities. The indictment also revealed a broader leadership structure behind the operation. Several additional cartel figures were charged alongside the father and son, including senior operational leaders allegedly involved in trafficking, money laundering, logistics, and cartel enforcement activities. Many now face charges carrying potential life sentences. Then came an unexpected twist. One of the central figures in the case would never appear in a U.S. courtroom. In November 2025, Mexican naval forces conducted operations targeting BLO-controlled properties in Sinaloa. During one operation, authorities encountered armed resistance. A firefight followed. Pedro Inzunza Coronel, the son accused of helping lead the fentanyl empire, was killed. 2 additional suspects were captured. His father, however, survived. In January 2026, Mexican authorities arrested Pedro Inzunza Noriega. He remains in custody and is currently facing extradition proceedings to the United States. If extradited, he could become one of the first senior cartel leaders to stand trial under America's new narco-terrorism framework. And that's where this story becomes historic. For decades, cartel leaders were prosecuted primarily as drug traffickers. Serious criminals, yes, but still prosecuted under traditional narcotics laws. That changed after the US government designated major Mexican cartels as foreign terrorist organizations in 2025. The designation fundamentally changed the legal landscape. Federal prosecutors now argue that cartel leaders responsible for large-scale fentanyl trafficking are not merely drug traffickers. They are individuals whose actions threaten US national security. The numbers help explain that argument. According to DEA estimates, a single kilogram of fentanyl can contain roughly 500,000 potentially lethal doses. Authorities seized approximately 1,500 kilograms during the December raid. That translates to an estimated 750 million potentially lethal doses from a single operation, from a single morning, from properties allegedly connected to one cartel faction. Today, Pedro Inzunza Noriega remains in Mexican custody. His son is dead. Multiple cartel leaders face federal charges, yet investigators warn that the broader network has not been completely dismantled. Production facilities remain in operation. operation, smuggling routes continue to exist, and authorities believe additional members of the organization remain active. What this case ultimately represents is more than a massive drug seizure. It marks a major shift in how the United States intends to confront cartel leadership moving forward. For the first time, fentanyl traffickers are being pursued not only as narcotics traffickers, but as alleged terrorists. Whether that strategy succeeds remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, the largest fentanyl seizure in world history was only the beginning of a much larger battle.